The Dreher Shoals Dam, commonly referred to as the Lake Murray Dam, stretches 1.5 miles connecting Lexington and Irmo and is responsible for ensuring that the 50,000 acres that make up the lake stays full, not only for recreation for the entire Midlands to enjoy, but as a provider of hydropower for the area. The dam itself stands 220 feet high, is over 5,700 feet long, and 150 feet wide. The dam was built in 1929 by the Lexington Water and Power Company, now known as SCE&G, to provide much-needed power for the quickly growing city of Columbia and the influx of mills and industry. At the time of its completion, it was known as the world's largest man-made reservoir. The land that would become Lake Murray was purchased from landowners. About 2,000 men were paid 50 cents a day to clear the land and build the area that would be required to create the largest earthen dam in the world, at least at its time. The lake, since its completion in 1929, has served many more purposes than providing power to the area. Not only is it home to residents along the 500 miles of shoreline, it's the premier destination for summer recreation and fun in the sun. The lake also served as a training area for the famous Doolittle raid on Japan during World War II after the bombing of Pearl Harbor. In fact, it was just off Lake Murray Dam, under 100 feet of water, that a B-25 bomber rested for over 60 years after a training mishap. In 2005, teams from across the country, including the Rubicon Foundation, returned the bomber to the light of day. And even today, history exists under the surface of the lake. From the angels that have been left for underwater explorers to a cemetery that remains the final resting place of loved ones buried over a century ago. Also located near the dam are reported to be the railroad tracks themselves that were used to build the dam over 80 years ago. It's these tracks that make up our objective today as we head back into history and dive South Carolina. In the late 1920s, the Lexington Power and Water Company created a 5,700-foot-long, 213-foot-high dam in order to harness hydropower for the quickly growing area. To help facilitate the creation of what was to be the largest man-made reservoir of its day, construction crews used railroad cars to move dirt, rocks, and other needed items. As the area began to flood and Lake Murray became, well, a lake, much of the created infrastructure was left behind and is reported to still exist under the surface of the lake. The Dive South Carolina team, along with the assistance of the Wateree Dive Center, the Department of Natural Resources, and Aquafun Boat Rentals, decided to head down on a chilly winter afternoon and try to find history at the bottom of the lake. We planned to dive just off the Irmo side of the dam. Using underwater compasses and navigation, we would search for markers left by previous divers with the hope of finding some of the tracks used to create Lake Murray. Cold or chilly water diving adds a level of difficulty, even for experienced divers. So more preparation, warmer gear, and extra caution are used when planning and executing the dive. Once we had suited up and we had taken one more look at the area from the boat, it was time to go swimming. I have to admit, even with a wetsuit and a hood, the 50-degree Lake Murray water was a bit jarring, but we had come to go down, and that's where we were headed. Lake Murray is notorious for its lack of good visibility under the water, due to the amount of activity, both man-made and natural, that impact clarity in the warmer months. But on this December day, the water was pretty clear, for Lake Murray standards. Using navigation techniques, we headed in the general direction we believed the tracks to be. And after several minutes, we found a flag left by another diver, giving us hope that we were on the right, track. As we continued on, we came across another flag and some rather large boulders that were probably unearthed with the excavation for the dam. After finding no real indication of the tracks, we headed back to the surface to regroup and evaluate our progress. With the water going from rather chilly to downright cold, we decided to take one more trip down in hopes of finding the tracks. Swimming down about 25 feet, with the water cooling even more, out of seemingly nowhere, a railroad tie appeared. We had found what we went down for, one of the tracks used to build the dam and create the lake nearly 3 generations ago. As I followed the tracks, I tried to imagine working the lines and moving the earth to create the lake, all for 50 cents a day in 1928. After several minutes, and yes, even a selfie, it was time to return to present day and warmth. But as chilly as it was, an adventure like that was totally worth it.